You are Locked On LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked On LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making this your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get great podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So as we sit here, it is Wednesday. July the 9th as we record. We are less than 24 hours away from five-star number one athlete in the country out of U-High, Lamar Brown, making his college decision. It is, for all intents and purposes, down to LSU and Texas A&M, although everybody else in the country has offered. Miami has offered, Texas, Alabama. He's made a trip to Oregon up on the West Coast as well, Southern Cal, Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan, Florida State, Tennessee, name it. He's got offers from everybody. When you look at Lamar Brown's recruiting profile, this is someone we have talked about literally for years. He is 6'4", 285 pounds. He's both an interior offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. As we've talked to Lamar on this show, he has told us point blank that schools have allowed him the opportunity and offered him the opportunity to play whichever side of the ball he wants. He prefers to play the defensive side of the ball, and more specifically at LSU as an edge under Kevin Peoples. So that's what he's been recruited to play at LSU. He is, when you look at the specifics in the on-three composite, the number 7 overall prospect in the country, the number 1 athlete in the country, the number 1 player in Louisiana. This is a elite level talent, no matter what you look at. For what it's worth, ESPN's recruiting service ranks Lamar Brown as the number 1 player in the country, regardless of position. So this is a major prospect that we have talked about for literally years. He preps on U-High's campus, which is on LSU's campus. So this is a guy that, of course, LSU's trying to get to just hop the fence from U-High to stay at LSU. Our buddy Shea Dixon from On3 The Bengal Tiger has the absolute latest on Lamar Brown's recruitment.
I mean, I haven't changed my pick off of LSU, which I put on. I don't think, were they his first offer? I mean, it was a long time ago, but I've always thought that LSU was the team to beat. They are the team to beat, and I always thought it was going to be A&M as the competition. And he's got a Final Four that includes also Texas and Miami. He made official visits to them all, but this is an LSU or A&M decision. And like that, I'd be fooling you if I told you I know where he's going. And I don't even know if both schools feel very confident for sure about where this is going. But whether it's how long they've recruited him, whether it's the effort they've put in, the pitch they've made, the rolling out of the red carpet, NIL, there's nothing LSU's going to come up short on, which ultimately means that it's Lamar's decision. Is it I'm staying home, or is it I'm going to commit to A&M? And look, the recruiting expert in me, I wish I could give you an answer, but if he stays home, are we shocked, Matt? No, not at all. If he doesn't, are we shocked? No. We name a school out there where you'd say, man, sometimes those kids just don't go to LSU. It'd be U-High, the one school where it's on LSU's campus, and the kids say, look, this is just where I went forever, and I kind of got enamored by another program, and I'll get away from home.
So we know that to be true when it comes to U-High kids. And there's been examples of players like Tim Williams, for example, who went to Alabama. There have been numerous of them. But there have also been a lot of U-High kids that have stayed in Baton Rouge, that have picked LSU. Listen, you have a freshman coming up in this year's class in Dylan Moses. In Keelan Moses, forgive me. Dylan, of course, years ago was committed to LSU, and Les Miles got fired, went to Alabama. But Keelan Moses signed with LSU in this most recent class. You have a former U-High star in Jordan Gilbert, who started his career at A&M, transferred back to LSU. So there's no shortage of players that have picked LSU from U-High also. I don't know what Lamar Brown's going to do. I kind of lean with Shea. Lamar has stated openly throughout his entire recruitment that LSU is the team to beat. And the fact that he stated LSU is the team to beat, indicates that he wants to stay home. And the thing that would be a differentiator would be if a team came in and had the right NIL rev share package. But you heard Shay say it there, and it's the most important part of this, is that LSU is not going to get beat in that arena with this prospect. Like, you're going to make sure the money is what it needs to be to make sure that's not why you miss out. This isn't going to be a situation like with Bryce Underwood where Larry Ellison comes in and drops $12 million on a prospect. That's an outlier scenario that isn't going to happen here. The money will be comparable, and LSU will make sure that it's what it needs to be to make sure that they get Lamar Brown on campus. It's just a matter of, does he want to play on the same campus where he spent the last 4 years as a high school athlete, or does he want to leave the state and go to Texas A&M? And that's a decision Lamar Brown will have to make. And when we talk about Lamar Brown, obviously, this will be one of those things that, depending on the decision he makes, we'll look at that defensive end room. But remember, you brought in Patrick Payton and Jamari Butler and Jack Pyburn. They'll all be gone after this season. So in 2026, when Lamar Brown's a freshman, the only returning player with real significant experience is going to be Gabe Relaford. After that, there is a very clear and direct path to the field as a true freshman for a player like Lamar Brown at that edge spot. So we'll follow and see, and we'll wait on Thursday to see what the decision will be for Lamar Brown. But Lamar Brown isn't the only LSU target with a hat on the table on Thursday. In fact, he's one of 3 LSU targets with a hat on the table on Thursday. You'll hear about the other 2 from Shea Dixon when we return. Locked on LSU, your team every day. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action, so why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Use FanDuel. It's easy to use, and it's fast to pay out. And it makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. I love to live in-game bet international basketball. Maybe you want to play around with some prop bets for Major League Baseball. You can do it. And if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. So Lamar Brown will be one of 3 LSU targets with a hat on the table on Thursday. And not only is Lamar Brown one of 3 prospects with a hat on the table, they're all defensive ends. The other 2 we had a chance to chat about with Shea Dixon, who feels good about one, and the other maybe not so much.
There'll be 3 guys, D linemen, D ends, edges, who announced Thursday with LSU hats on the table. I feel the best about DeAnthony Lafayette. I put a pick in. He's a kid coming out of Lake Nona in Florida who, right after Vandy, Kevin Peoples and Baker offered him, and he had not been a highly touted recruit at that point, but he had a just unbelievable year stat-wise. And then once they got out to see him in person, it was like, okay, he's 6'5", 6'1", but long arms, can cover, can play that stand-up outside linebacker kind of edge spot. And they've continued to recruit him, brought him in on visits. And Miami will have a hat on the table. Oklahoma's really pressing. But as long as anything doesn't go wildly crazy in the next 48 hours, I do think that you add one more to the list there with him and Lafayette coming out of Florida, not coming out of Lafayette, but at least it rings true that he would maybe end up at LSU. And the other is Carlton, who I'd best describe this, Matt, to the sort of in layman's term for recruiting fans. They were after 2 big out-of-state edge rushers, and I think they even hosted them on the same weekend. But it was Trenton Henderson, and it was Jamarion Carlton. Henderson coming out of Pensacola, and Carlton coming out of Temple in Texas. And they've already gotten Trenton Henderson committed. So top 100 guy, you beat out Florida for him. Can you strike magic twice? I mean, maybe. I definitely think they're in this, but from the start, a lot of people thought he would stay close to home, and his house is about a 20-something minute drive from Waco. So despite Texas, LSU, Texas Tech coming in, and for those who don't follow recruiting, they've been making major NIL waves in the past couple of weeks. A&M, all these schools being involved, it won't surprise anyone if Baylor's the choice, and he sort of becomes the jewel of the class and stays home.
So LSU with 3 prospects. It'll make their announcement on Thursday. The big crown jewel would be Lamar Brown. As you heard Shay say there, DeAnthony Lafayette, he's expecting LSU to be the pick there, and Jamarion Carlton likely going to Baylor, but we'll wait and see. The quick thumbnail on both Lafayette and Carlton. DeAnthony Lafayette is a consensus 3-star, the number 699 prospect nationally, the 67th best edge. But we always say it here, it's not just your rating or your ranking, it's who's offered. And he's got offers from Miami, where he's being recruited by Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. What a cosign there. Oklahoma, Florida, Illinois, Mississippi State, Wake Forest, Vanderbilt, Pittsburgh. So there are a lot of Boston College and Power Fives that have offered. It may not be the chorus of the top Power Fives, but these are a lot of Power Five offers there. And you heard Shay kind of go through the measurables: 6'1.5", 230 pounds. So maybe a little undersized, but could vary. But LSU scouted him. They saw him play. They made the offer. They feel good with it. Question always, do you trust the staff and their evaluation? Then Jamarion Carlton is another one of the big prospects. He is a consensus 4-star. He's the number 44 overall prospect in America, the 8th best edge. He's got offers, again, from everybody: Texas, Baylor, SMU, Texas Tech, Southern Cal. Again, LSU has a hat on the table. Texas A&M, Ohio State, LSU, Ole Miss. I mean, he's got offers from everybody, but it sounds like it'll be Baylor. But we'll keep an eye on it and see what may transpire here on Thursday when Lamar Brown, DeAnthony Lafayette, Jamarion Carlton all make their announcements. Hopefully the Tigers come up with at least 2 of the 3. But that's not all. I had a chance to visit with Shay and ask him, is there any other prospect that LSU could be keeping an eye on here in the relative short term? And not only did he give us a couple of names, but he also kind of laid out what the numbers look like for LSU as they make their way through this part of the cycle. We'll get to that as we wrap up this bonus coverage of Locked on LSU, your team every day. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU Championship Health Partners, and we are thrilled every day to be able to tell you about our friends over at Our Lady of the Lake. Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center, the same level of care available to the LSU athletes is available to you and to me. They're part of the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System, the official championship health partner of LSU. Our Lady of the Lake is transforming healthcare from clinical excellence in sports medicine and student health to breakthrough research and medical education. At Our Lady of the Lake, they're taking game-changing care that keeps the athletes at their best and builds a stronger, healthier Louisiana for all of us. Because this partnership isn't just about LSU sports. It's about caring for all of us, creating opportunity, and leading the next generation of healthcare talent right here at home. So whether you're on the field, you're in the stands, or just doing life, know that championship-level healthcare is right here for you. You can learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU. That's ololrmc.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. As we put a button here on this bonus coverage of Locked on LSU in advance of a massive Thursday of announcements for LSU football, after this Thursday announcements comes and goes, there are still a few more prospects lingering out there that the Tigers are keeping an eye on. And Shay Dixon gave us the latest on a couple of names you'll want to know here in the next month.
They're not going to take a massive class, and I think they'll get above 20. But, remember back in the day, we would always say 25, right? I think they'll end up with 20 to 25, let's say. That would leave, 6 guys left if they end up getting Lamar Brown and end up getting DeAnthony Lafayette. And one I'd put firmly at the top is Jase Mathews out of Mississippi, and we've got him ranked as a top 3 receiver. I know our rankings are about to be updated soon. He is neck and neck battling Tristan Keys, another receiver out of Mississippi who's committed to LSU, for best receiver in the country. And I don't think he's staying in Mississippi. It'll be LSU or Auburn. It might be A&M, but LSU really surged there. So, we could be talking about a really marquee recruiting class that would match that old, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Hilton, Jack Besh, all those guys that signed at the same time together. So keep an eye on that. They'll stay on D lineman. Deuce Gerald's, whose dad's from Scotlandville, played for Frank Wilson at Ole Miss. He's a top 100 player. A 5-star lineman, Darius Gray, who could play center or guard, but number 1 interior lineman in the country, Matt. Wolfgang and all of our national teams still have LSU as the team to beat. And you look at what they've done recently there, Carius Kern, if you get Darius Gray this year, I think 2 years ago, who am I missing? There was another, but it would be a run.
Lance Hurd, Will Campbell. I mean, they've signed Weston Davis.
Yeah,
They've signed a 5-star in every class.
No doubt. And I think they've signed a top 2 interior linemen if they could land Darius Gray in 3 straight classes. So they've done so well recruiting on the O-line. But
Cohen Eccles?
Kind of, yes, right. So those are some names I would kind of continue to keep an eye on. But, boy, no doubt, this is Lamar Brown week, who I just saw is going to be announcing on ESPN2.
Okay.
Jared had written up. So let's see, there's a shuffle 12:15 now at U-High, and looks like the plan as of now is a nationally televised audience.
12:15 on Thursday Central Time. Lamar Brown will make the announcement, but the 3 prospects that Shay just mentioned there, Jase Mathews, Darius Gray, and Deuce Gerald. Mathews, 4-star, the number 77 overall player in the country, the 10th best wide receiver. On 3, this is what Shay was alluding to, on 3 has Mathews as the number 25 overall prospect in the country and the 3rd best receiver, 6'2", 180 out of Lakeside, Mississippi. So they, on 3, looks at Mathews running almost neck and neck with Tristan Keys, who's the number 1 receiver in the country. Darius Gray is someone we've talked about a lot. He is a 5-star. He is the number 22 overall prospect in the country in the composite. 24/7 ranks him as the number 16 player, which is his highest ranking, the number 1 interior offensive lineman in America. And you heard Shay allude to it there from Carius Kern and Solomon Thomas, Cohen Eccles before that. LSU has done a magnificent job recruiting the offensive line, both interior and on the outside, under Brian Kelly. And Darius Gray is someone who a lot of the big-name recruiting analysts has been mocked to LSU. I mean, I'm looking at the recruiting prediction machine from On3, and they've got a 51.1% chance of Gray landing in Baton Rouge, followed by South Carolina at 32%. Then a big gap before Ohio State, Tennessee, and everybody else. And the Deuce Geralds is another interesting one, who we've heard him say it. The opportunity to play at LSU, to come home to Baton Rouge, where his dad's from, where he still has family. He's the number 95 overall prospect in the country, the 6th best defensive lineman. He's prepping in Georgia, but again, his dad's from Scotlandville, played for Frank Wilson, was recruited there at Ole Miss. And now Gerald, who's grown up in Georgia, might have the opportunity here of being recruited by Frank Wilson to Baton Rouge, potentially to play at LSU. So it'll be fascinating to see how these all play out in the next month. Remember, a lot of guys like to make their announcements before their senior year to get it out of the way before they play their senior season. So 3 more to keep an eye on there after the big 3 that'll announce on Thursday. Of course, we'll be following it right here every single day on Locked on LSU. Hey, thanks so much for making us your first listen. Now for your second listen, how about you check out the portal, available on both podcast or YouTube. And of course, if you're listening to us on podcast, thank you so much. Please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video, and let a friend know if they love the Tigers. We got you here every single day for Locked on LSU. It's your team every day.